My boyfriend, 23, used all my savings for my dog's treatment. I have a 5-year-old golden retriever, and I live in Lebanon. Most of you might heard from the news about Lebanon. We've been facing a severe economic crisis since last year, and unfortunately, about 6 months ago we experienced one of the most horrible and biggest explosions in Beirut that destroyed almost half of my city. Due to the explosion, my dog was severely injured in his brain. Thankfully he survived after the surgery the next day, but left with ongoing seizures. Since then I've been saving some money in USD cash to be able to continue my dog's treatment. Yesterday I noticed that my secret jacket's pocket in my closet looks empty and all the money are gone. I quickly rushed to my BF, of 1.5 years, and asked him. It turns out it was really him. He stole all my savings for my dog to pay some of his debt, while showing little to no guilt or regret about what he has done. I was really triggered and upset. We fought and he left the apartment. What should I do now? I'm really broken right now and exhausted. I have no idea what will happen now. I'm really sorry for the bad English. My thoughts are all over the place. Report him for theft and dump him. I hope your pup gets better. I don't know anything about Lebanon's laws, but in the US, I'm fairly sure you could sue him for that amount if you really wanted to. I wish I could. We are almost a failed state in a mid of socio-economic crisis. So I can't say the law will be any helpful. Frown. OMG. I'm so sorry about what happened. I'm Lebanese too and I still live in Lebanon. For those who don't know, Lebanon currently is in a very critical and dire situation. People are fighting and killing each other over discounted food in the market. Our currency is hyperinflated and the minimum wage now is almost $50 per month. Please hang in there. Leave your BF for good, and make sure to stay safe with your family and friends during these difficult times, and give your puppy all the love he needs. 3. Regardless of what the money was earmarked for, he used it without your permission. That's called theft where I come from. What to do? I'd call theft a deal breaker and break up with him. Leave him. I'm planning to. My 19F boyfriend, 23 meters, told me it was hot that a girl fingered me at a party. It wasn't consensual. Me and my BF have been together for 5 months now, but we've grown so attached so fast and he basically knows all that is to know about me except a few things which I didn't tell him about, although the thought of telling him crossed my mind a lot, because it was too sad for me to talk about and I didn't want to be pitied. Although I want him to feel empathetic towards me and give me a hug sometimes. Confusing emotions. Anyway, I told him recently. He wanted to finger me and when he started to I started getting flashbacks of that thing that happened and I stopped enjoying it and pushed his hand away gently and asked him to cuddle me instead. We cuddle and he asked me what's wrong and I told him. At the time that girl was an older girl from school and she pressured me to drink. It was my first time drinking, and I was a tipsy and that's when it happened. It was a house party and she asked me to go with her to the bathroom, just for company, and when we went she pushed me to the bed and you know the rest. It was my first time being penetrated too. It was painful, it was awful, I cried the whole time and she didn't care. I told him all that and I was crying while telling him. It was my first time ever telling someone. He told me it was okay and I shouldn't be sad about it because it's apparently hot. My face went blank. I didn't say anything to him about it for the rest of the night. Thinking about it now, I'm not sure if I can get past what he said, but I don't want to ruin my relationship because I'm too sensitive. I feel annoying and overwhelmed. Any advice? You can't ruin the relationship. He already did, as he told you that he find it hot that you got raped. Just think about it. If this would happen to you now and you scream for help, your BF would come, see the scenario and instead of helping you, he would say hot and start yerking off. He is so disgusting. Don't spend more time with him. 5 months were already enough. That's not hot. No one should be putting anything inside of you that you did not consent to. If he sees that as some dream fantasy, then there is a problem. Sexual assault isn't hot and your boyfriend is disgusting. Ask him if it would be hot if a random dude grabbed his dick and forcibly jerked him off. You've only been together 5 months. You're in the honeymoon period. Well, the honeymoon is over. Instead of validating your feelings, he made it about himself. He doesn't see the big deal because he thinks it's hot. Never mind that you were raped and are still suffering the psychological effects. You aren't too sensitive. He is too insensitive. And I know I'll get flack for this because people don't like to hear people say teens and early 20s individuals shouldn't commit themselves to someone so early. But yeah, you shouldn't. You're 19. You have a lot yet to experience and learn from. Do not hitch your life to one guy who has already shown you he can't support you emotionally. Ask him if he thinks it would be hot if some random man did something like that to him. I, 32F, told my husband's 34 meters family he wasn't attracted to me after giving birth to our first child due to my weight gain. My 32F husband, 34 meters, and I have 2 kids together, 4F and 8-month-old boy. After our first, I had a hard time losing the baby weight and was about 40 pounds overweight for a year after having her. During that time, my man-child of a husband struggled with porn and wasn't attracted to me. It took a lot of self-reflection and patience on my end to come to terms with this. I did lose weight, and our sex life went back to normal. I understand that sex is not an obligation in a marriage, and if I want to be intimate with him I need to accept that he is a very shallow person and can't have sex with me if I'm not 120 pounds. Oh well. I can't relate to that mindset, but it is what it is. After the second kid, I was more conscious of this and bounced back a lot faster. Recently at a family party, my Sills, both of husband's sisters who are pregnant with their first right now, were asking how I was able to get my body back after the second kid so fast, and I said it had more to do with how hard of a time my husband had after the first. They looked confused and I explained my husband and I had a rough patch because we weren't being intimate after the first kid, because I had gained too much weight than he was comfortable with. The conversation ended there, and I had a nice time the rest of the evening. Well, the next day my husband was invited over to his parents' house where he was lectured about what a bad husband he is. His mom was apparently crying and his dad said he was ashamed of him for how he was treating me. His sisters told their parents what I had said, because it upset them a lot too. I am a little annoyed they shared this, but that's beside the point. My husband is embarrassed and very mad at me for sharing this. We got into a fight about this, where I said if he was embarrassed about his feelings of my body, maybe he should work on that. His sisters are my 2 best friends, so it's hard for me to keep things separate sometimes. But I do see how sharing this with his family could be a violation. How can I get him to see that the fact that he's ashamed and embarrassed isn't a reason to be mad that I told them, and he should really be focused on the behavior he's embarrassed about? He is determined to overlook this and just focus on me being a BTCH for sharing something like that. If everyone is calling him a shitty husband, he must be really dense to not realize he is a shitty husband. This whole post is an absolute mess. A husband is an awful, shallow person who fat-shamed his poor wife after she had his child. The wife is the kind of person who remains married to someone she doesn't even seem to like, someone she openly refers to as a shallow man-child but still has another kid with him, and then goes and airs the gory details about their sex life to his family. Why are they even still together? Question mark. Your husband is an ass face. That body he disliked so much housed and nurtured his children. I mean, he's allowed his feelings, but it's really the consequences of his own actions. I don't know why you're in this marriage and neither do your in-laws. I don't understand all the hate for Op's husband. Not being attracted to someone for gaining 1/3 of their body weight isn't something you can help. 120 pounds to 160 pounds is a bigger difference and certainly doesn't make someone shallow. Op didn't say he fat-shamed her or did anything bad, just that when she had gained so much weight they had stopped having sex. Op is definitely an asshole for sharing intimate knowledge of their sex life with his sisters, best friends or not. Airing out any problems in a relationship to someone's family is going to cause problems, as it obviously did. Not to mention that is a huge betrayal of confidence to talk about your sex life with someone else without the approval of your partner. Even more so when you tell that person's siblings. How can I get him to see that the fact that he's ashamed and embarrassed isn't a reason to be mad that I told them, and he should really be focused on the behavior he's embarrassed about. He is determined to overlook this and just focus on me being a BTCH for sharing something like that. That's a load of bullshit. He should be angry, and I would be too in his shoes. He may not be ashamed at all. Honestly, don't think he has anything to be ashamed about it. Embarrassed? Absolutely. I'd be embarrassed that my wife was the whole reason my family knew about our intimacy problems, and mad that they all confronted me about. It's pretty wild to me that Op is getting so much support for what she did when the husband did nothing wrong, and Reddit usually gives the opposite advice when the genders are reversed. He is determined to overlook this and just focus on me being a BTCH for sharing something like that. Well, then he can die angry. They wanted to know how you bounced back, and your answer was survival. That is on him, for real. He's embarrassed because he's being socially sanctioned over his asshole behavior. Oh fucking well. If you don't want people to think you're an asshole, maybe just don't be one. His sisters were right to be horrified, and good on them for coming together as a family and saying, "We do not find this acceptable." That's how the social contract is enforced. I think Hop should think long and hard about the fact that she had normalized his behavior to the degree that she didn't think his sisters would react this strongly to it.